Soup for President, Chapter 8. I saw it, said Miss Kelly. You did? I asked her. I certainly did. Miss Bolin came for lunch on Sunday, and in the afternoon we took a drive in her car. Miss Kelly had asked me to stay after school. I knew she wasn't mad or anything like that. It was sunny, so Miss Kelly and I walked out behind the school. Some of the red and gold leaves had come down, and our feet rustled through a fall in October. We sat on a jigsaw fence of long gray rails and talked. She brought up the subject of paint. We did it, I said, Soup and I. As soon as I saw that paint on Mr. McGinley's barn, I remembered the red I had seen on your hands. So I put one and one together and concluded that you and Luther had tested your hand at exterior decoration. We sat near a buckeye tree. Bending down, I shucked the spines off a split-open shell and shined the buckeye nut by rubbing it alongside my nose. What are you going to do, Miss Kelly? Robert, I'm not quite sure the question you just asked is the main issue. I believe the situation can best be mended by my asking you. What do you and Soup intend to do? I believe we ought to go face Mr. McGinley and tell him that Soup and I were the ones who put red paint on his barn. Is that all? Well, I don't guess we ought to stop short of making it right. How will you do that? Best, we scrape off the paint. That, said Miss Kelly, is what I hoped to hear. Soup feels the same way. Actually, it wasn't Soup's fault as much as mine. He didn't paint the barn, I did. Miss Kelly lifted her eyebrows. So you're saying the whole idea was yours? Not exactly. I thought not. Having observed one Luther Vinson for several years, I would conclude that he had a hand in everything except the paint. Seeing as I put the paint up, maybe old Soup ought to take it down while I lie under a tree and eat a Jonathan. Best apple there is, said Miss Kelly. Did Miss Bolin see the barn too? Come now, Robert, one would have to be blindfolded not to see it. What did Miss Bolin say? I can't repeat her exact words, said Miss Kelly, but I was there when she stopped the car to crank down the window so that we could both take a better look. We painted the barn so Soup would win. So I presumed. Miss Bolin and I both laughed, tears rolling down our faces, until we suddenly became aware of who owns the barn. Mr. Silas McGinley, I said. Indeed he does. Maybe he doesn't understand politics. Do you? Yes, I said. Campaign managers do all the work. Miss Kelly smiled. Incidentally, she said, the poster you made, an adaptation of Mr. Capuzzo, was very amusing and creative. Do you think we picked up any votes? Well, now, said Miss Kelly, twisting the stem of a yellow maple leaf in her fingers so that the hand of the leaf spun round and round in an autumn waltz. I would predict at this very moment that the election is going to be a close tally. Because our school is half boys and half girls, Miss Kelly nodded. Do you think all the boys will vote for Soup? I asked Miss Kelly, or will some vote for Norma Jean? Well, she answered, I believe I could name one boy who'd like to vote twice. You mean me? I do. By the way, I'm sure glad you didn't make me read that note in school, the note that Norma Jean Bissell wrote me. Looking back, said Miss Kelly, I am rather ashamed of myself for even asking you to read it aloud. Teachers make mistakes too, you know. They do? Certainly we do. I saw you reading her letter instead of your geography book, so temper took a hold of me. You didn't look real mad. An inner temper. So, in that one moment of haste, I ordered you to read a letter, something I should not have done, as it was personal. And when you chose the ruler as opposed to reading the letter aloud, you made me feel more than a little ashamed. Honest? Honest and truly, Miss Kelly tapped the top of my head with the leaf. In spite of my being petty and vengeful, you were noble. You acted with honor. Sort of like Ivanhoe? Yes, very much like Ivanhoe. But he had a horse and a sword. I picked up a stick and began to jab away at an imaginary enemy. As you mature, Robert, you will learn that being honorable is far more shining than either a sword or a horse. You're right about all that. Miss Kelly smiled. How rewarding it is to learn that, upon occasion, I am right about something. I didn't mean it like that. No, you didn't. It just sort of popped out. Miss Kelly nodded. In the same way I popped out my order to you to read Norma Jean's note. I apologize for that. You don't have to apologize it. I started it. I just wanted to tell you that I was sorry, said Miss Kelly. Just to put things right once again. Did you ever do something wrong and want to undo it? You mean like painting the barn? Yes, like the barn. Me and Soup will fix it. Soup and I will fix it, I smiled. If you're going to answer Norma Jean's letter, best you use a number 1 English. I tried a few times, but everything I say sort of sounds mushy. I nodded. Inside me, there's all these feelings I have for people, like the way I feel about Soup and her cat and about Norma Jean. I have a possible idea. You do? Try writing a poem for Norma Jean. You mean like Lord Byron? Or like Ivanhoe? I want Norma Jean Bissell to be my girl. Sometimes it's all I can think about, even when I should be thinking about Tibet or Manitoba or someplace like that. Even when I help Paul with the milking, I can close my eyes and lean my head against a cow and see Norma Jean's face, way down in the milk pail. Miss Kelly smiled. When a lad envisions his girl's face down inside a milk pail, it surely must be love. How do I tell her? Perhaps in poetry. Boys, you see, don't understand girls, and often even grown men fail to understand women. Oftentimes, boys, even big boys, think that what impresses a girl is muscle. What does impress a girl? Poetry and music, most of all courting. Courting? Yes. Many a girl's heart has been won, not by the biggest or the strongest or even the most handsome, but by the chap who knows how to court a queen. Sort of like Sir Walter Raleigh. Exactly. I'm not very good at courting. How much have you done? Not very much. I gave Norma Jean a daisy once. Is that courting? Indeed it is. One daisy can possibly be prouder than a whole bouquet. What did she do with the daisy? Did she wear it in her hair? No, I said. She pulled off the petals. Miss Kelly sighed. That's because it takes as much practice to become a princess as it does to become a knight. Miss Kelly? Yes. Suppose you were talking to Norma Jean right now instead of me. And? What advice would you give her? I asked. Miss Kelly softly folded her hands in her lap and looked upward into the orange leaves. Well, I believe I would tell her this. Never give your heart to a boy unless, in one way or another, he sings beneath your window. I don't sing very good. Very well. Okay, I guess I don't sing very well. That, dear Robert, has little to do with love. Maybe I should take up the fiddle. Perhaps. But let me tell you this. Inside your heart, a violin already plays, for love is a sweet lyric all its own. Never, I said. I'll never be able to look Norma Jean Bissell right in the eye and tell her my feelings. Lord Byron would. Ivanhoe would. Most surely he would. In a thrice, Ivanhoe would sheathe his sword, dismount from his charger, and sing beneath the yellow window of fair Lady Rowena. I think Ivanhoe had it easier. How so? Well, maybe Lady Rowena is a lot easier to court than Norma Jean Bissell. Tossing back her head, Miss Kelly laughed a little laugh, and then stretched her hand to muss up my hair, which was already mussed up from football with Janice. Miss Kelly pulled a burr off the back of my sweater. Eyes twinkling, she threw me a wink. Give your girl more poems than promises. And I said, sing beneath their window. When do you think I should do that? After, said Miss Kelly, you scrape the barn.